Hari Om, welcome you all. Today is Akshaya Tritiya. After 2 days there will be Shankara Jayanti on Vaishakha Panchami. Today is Vaishakha Shuddha Tritiya, which is Akshaya Tritiya. So whatever we do on this day remains forever. Remains forever. And what a great coincidence for us to discuss about the Charitra, the so inspiring Akshayam Prerakam Charitram Shankaracharyasya on this auspicious day. How do we know about this Charitra? Through not the contemporaries obviously, but through the biographies which turn to hagiography. Right from 14th century till today, people feel like talking about Shankara. Recently, last year, one of my students published his book Shankarayanam, Subramanyam Chidambaram. So every era, every year, there is some or the other book. So I first pay the tribute to all these people who have made our path in his journey, little bit easier. So this is the verse composed by one of my students who was my assistant in the Ektanyas project on Shankaracharya's biography. And he has composed a very beautiful verse with which we started our report writing. I will start with that. Acharya pravaram pranamya shirasa Shri Shankaram Shankaram Dhanyanstan Guru Shankararya Charita Prakhyaapakan Satkavin Natva Shankara Pithagan Guruvaran Shri Shankarakhyan Numaha Chanyan Tatpatha Susthitan Athayatin Sarvan Numassadaram. Just a brief translation of that. First, let me bow down to Acharya Pravaram Guru Bhumandalacharya Namaha. That is the Ashtottara Shatanamali. I will be quoting from Ashtottara Shatanamali quite often. So he is the Acharya Pravara Guru Pungava Pungava Ketanate. That's what Totaka, one of his Giri, one of his Shishyas, refers to him. Guru Pungava. So Acharya Pravaram Pranamya Shirasa Shri Shankaram, who is none else but Shankara Shambhu himself, Dakshinamurti himself. Then Dhanyan Tan Satkavin and all those great poets who are Shankaracharya Charita Prakhyaapakan, who have revealed the Shankaracharya Charitra to us. Thereafter, Natva Shankara Pithagan Guruvaran Shri Shankarakhyan, all the Pitadipatis who are named as Shankaracharya. The Pithas established by Shankaracharya, Adi Sankaracharya, and every Pitadipati is known as Shankaracharya. I bow down to all of them. And Anyan and all other Mahatmas, Tat Patha, following his same path, and Yatin and all those sadhus who are following the path of Advaita Vedanta, Sarvan Numaha Sadaram. So, with reverential, respectful homage, we start the Charitra Avagahana Akshayam Prerakam Charitram Shankaracharya Vibhutehe. So, what is this Charitra? We will start from the birth, his childhood, his education. I will be taking 3 lectures on the Charitra, so I thought I should have some format in that. So today, day 1, we will see about his birth, his Upanayana, and his childhood spent in Kaladi and Medpalur here. Again, this is such a great blessing. This happens only with Guru Anugraha, that I am sitting in Adi Shankara Nilayam and talking about Adi Sankaracharya. You cannot expect any better and higher bhagya than this really. So we'll do that till he reaches his Guru. That we'll try to cover in the day 1 today. And tomorrow, day 2, we will have Shishya Prapti when he goes to Guru. And then Shishya Prapti from the Guru. All that perhaps, we'll try to cover in the second day. Third day will be the Adi Shankara Puja here, and then the fourth day, that is on Wednesday, I will have this one, the Digvijaya, Shankara Digvijaya. So this is how I have divided the Charitra Kathana in 3 phases. So I hope Shankaracharya will guide me through in this. Now, the very first beginning, his birth. Where was he born? When was he born? Opinions differ. There are so many Shankara Charitras. They are called as Shankara Digvijaya Grantha or Shankara Vijaya Grantha. So many of them. Right from Vyasachala, Vidyaranya Swami, that is Madhavacharya, Anantanandagiri, Anandagiri, Lakshmana Suri, Ramakrishna Bhatt, Shastrigal, so many, Patanjali Charitam, so many are there. And yet there is no Ekavakyata, there is no Akhandartha Bodhakam Vakyam from all these, because there are so many different opinions. But still, through that only we have to do the navigation. Avagahana will do through that only. Basically, this was his Adi Shankara Nilayam is named by Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda when Chinmay Mission bought this property in 1989 from Shankaran Nambudri, the direct descendant from the maternal lineage of Adi Sankaracharya. So this is Melpalur Mana. This is the Melpalur Mana. Melpalur. Palur is the name of the region. There we have on the banks of Mottipula river, Palur Devalaya, Shivalaya, one of the 108 Shivalayas established by Parashurama, it is said. This is Melpalur, original Palur Mana, which is situated Mel on a higher side on a hillock. And therefore, I still remember I came here in 2018, and immediately that year only, 2018 June, Kerala was flooded. But we were safe because we are on a height. And we used to go and help other people, especially the fishermen's colony here. Those, their houses got flooded. So this is Mel. Mel, Mele in Kannada also, it means upper, little higher, and Mel is original. So this is the original Palur Mana. Aryamba was a girl born in this family, and they were finding a suitable groom for her. This is a Melpalur Mana. The Nambudri houses in Kerala, they have their names. For every house, they have a name. So this is Melpalur Mana. In Kaladi, there was Kaipalli Mana. Kaipalli Mana. And in that lived Shivaguru with his father Vidyadhiraja. Vidyadhiraja, as the name suggests, a great Vedic Pandit, knowledgeable person. Shivaguru was also Veda Shastra Sampanna, very learned Nambudri Brahmana, and therefore the match was good, and therefore Aryamba got married to him. They were happily married. They were spending their time in Kaladi, in Kaipalli Mana. Years after years, months and years passed by. They were pining for a child, but they didn't have an issue. So somebody suggested, why don't you go to Vrishachala and pray Vadakanathar? Vadakanathar, the Vadakanathan, the Swami, Shankara, Nathar, the Swami, the ruler of the Vadakkini, that is the northern side. Now, Ernakulam, where Kaladi, Veliyanad, these are situated. Thrissur is somewhere to the northern side of Kerala. So, in Thrissur, we have Vadakkunathan, the northern Swami of Kerala. So, this couple went there, and they did some tapas for 40 days. The Charitrakaras, the Shankara Digvijaya Granthakaras, they say that they practiced austerities there, for many, many days, almost 40 days. And it is said, now there comes some story part, some fiction part, okay. There comes a fiction that, at the end of the tapas almost, Shankar Bhagwan appeared to Shiva Guru and yes, he said, I will bless you with a child, but there is an option. The child, if you want a Sarvadnya, he will be Alpayu, short-lived person, short-lived boy. And if you want, a long-living child, he may not be that intelligent. So you can choose. Obviously, the choice was so clear. For an intelligent person, for wise people, knowledge matters more than the length of the life, the quality of life. That is what matters. And it is said that he chose for Alpayu, but Sarvadnya son. And they got one. When did they get? Now there are differences of opinion. I would rather look at this point, from a rational point of view. When the child is born to them, they got the Jataka done, right? And when the Jataka is done, naturally the astrologers, they talk about the future of the child and they might have predicted that this is a short-lived boy. And then there was a story element, Shiva Sakshat, Sakshatkara, and there was this boon and all. Maybe that is so, but then I look at it from this point of view. Anyhow, that is not important. So he was born. When was he born? Now there are 2, 3, 4, 5, there are hundreds of opinions, but two basic theories are there. I will deal only with the two basic theories. In the Ektanyas project of Madhya Pradesh also I pondered upon only these two basic theories. One is BCE and one is the CE theory. One is before the Common Era. When was Shankara born? Before the Common Era. And one is after the Common Era, which is followed by the Sringeri Matha basically. And all other mathas, the Dwaraka Matha, Badri Matha, Jyotir Matha and Puri Matha, Govardhan Matha, they all agree in the BC theory. Now there are proofs for both these. There are pros and cons for both of these. I am not going to make it very complex, but just to give you a flavor of two different theories, and it is documented by some Charitrakaras in their Shankara Digvijaya Grantha. I would give you only two quotations from Shankara Digvijaya. So one is the Prachina Shankara Vijaya, that is one of the biographies, and it says, it reads here, Tishye Prayatyanala Shevadhi Bana Netre. What if you are writing down, just write Anala Shevadhi Bana Netra. This is a cryptic way of telling ear in Sanskrit. This is encoded language. This is called Bhuta Sankhya. Now there is a camp going on Vedic mathematics here, and they are dealing with Katapayadi and Bhuta Sankhyas as well. So this is Bhuta Sankhya. What is that? I will explain it to you. So just note Anala, Shevadhi, Bana, Netra. So these are the four things which give you a 4-digit number. What is that? Netra. Now Ankanam Vamato Gatihi. So when you are writing a Sankhya, Anala, Shevadhi, Bana, Netra. So Netra will be at the units place. So what is Netra? So Netra will be at the thousands place. So we start Ankanam Vamato Gatihi. So Anala would be coming in the units place. Anala is fire. How many fires are there? There are 3 fires, Ahavaniya, Garhapatya and Dakshina. Therefore, in the units place you can write 3. This is Kali Yuga, okay? This Kali Sankhya, we get it. So 3 is that. Then we have Shevadhi. Shevadhi is Nidhi. How many Nidhis are there? We talk about Navanidhis of Kubera, right? Navanidhis. So in the tens place you write 9. Then Bana, Anala, Shevadi, Bana, Netra. Bana, Panchabana. Aravindam cha, Ashokam cha, Chutam cha, Navamallika, Nilotpalam cha, Panchaite, Panchabanasya Sayaka. So Madana is supposed to have 5 fatal banas, arrows. Bana is arrow. So Bana stands for the Sankhya 5. So this is all based on our Indian culture. This is called Bhuta Sankhya. When you talk about Netra, it has to be 2. Now the Netra, we have to accept Shiva. Every other person has 2 eyes, right? And therefore Netra is 2. So Anala, Shevadhi, Bana, Netre will be 2593 Kali Yuga. 2593. Then another thing, Yaha Nandane, Nandana Nama Samvatsara. There are Shashti Samvatsara Namani. There are 60 names for the Samvatsaras, and after 60, they get repeated again one after the other. You know that, right? So this is Nandana Nama Samvatsara, and later on it is said in Brihat Shankara Vijaya, now the year we got, the Samvatsara we got, but exact day on which he is born. Mesha Rashim Gate Surye, Vaishakhe Masi Shobhane, Shukla Pakshe cha Panchamyam Tithau. So Vaishakha Shukla Panchami. That is the Tithi. So in this 2593 Kali Yuga, on the Vaishakha Shuddha Panchami, when it was Nandana Samvatsara, when Surya was in Mesha Rashi, Chandra was in Punarvasau, Chandre Punarvasau, Karkataka Lagne, the Kundali is given, right? Karkataka Lagne, Madhyane, Bhanuvasare. It was Sunday. We are starting on Sunday today. Right? So it was a Sunday, Madhyane, Abhijit Muhurte, Uchasthe Guru, when Guru was, on Uchasthana, and Mande Kujo. Kuja is Mangala Graha. Ku is Prithivi. Prithivyam Jataha, Shankarasya Retasaha, iti Kujaha nama Angarakaha, Mangala Graha. So when the Kuja Graha was Manda and Guru was Uchasthani, that time this boy is born. This boy is born. This is not any, normal, ordinary person, ordinary baby being born. It is an epoch making. Once in Shatabdis and Sahasrabdis, in millennia, such Mahatma is born, and therefore the region is named after his birth. The region of Veliyanad is called Piravam. And Piravi in Tamil and Malayalam means birth. Whose birth? Shankaracharya's birth. So the place got the name from this Mahatma. That is the glory. That illustriousness of birth we are celebrating. Okay? So Piravi or Piravam. And then it is said, Prasuta Tanayam Sadhvi Girijeva Shadananam. See, the Charitrakaras make it so poetic, right? As Girija, Parvati, would have given birth to Shadanana, Kartikeya, similarly this Sadhvi, this Pativrata, Aryamba, she is called Aryamba. In some Charitras, she is called Sati. In some Charitras, Vishishtakya. Vishishta is her name. So there are these three names come, repeatedly in so many 22 Charitras we have gone through. So Prasuta Tanayam Sadhvi Girijeva Shadananam. So such a brilliant birth of this extraordinary child. So Vaishakha Shuddha Panchami in 2593, and 2593 Kali Yuga comes to 509 in the Gregorian calendar. 509. And this is the date. Some people believe in 478 BCE, some will believe in 412 BCE, but it's a BCE theory. What I am pointing out is BCE theory. So before the Common Era, and immediately after the Buddha's Nirvana, when Buddhism was in high demand by the people, that is the time when Shankara was born. This is one theory. The other theory, which is given in 1880 by K.B. Pathak, and there are some manuscripts and some Tamrapatras. In fact, in Dwaraka Matha, there is a Tamrapatra by King Sudhanva. Sudhanva's Tamrapatra. In the Charitra of Shankara, Sudhanva's Tamrapatra is very important, and we have the text of that with us. I don't know original, it lies with Govardhana Pitha, that's what I have heard, I don't know. Not Govardhana, Sharada Pitha or Kalika Pitha of Dwaraka. And according to that, 439 BCE is the date of Shankaracharya. So there are these three different opinions. And then as we had this cryptic way for the BCE theory, there is another cryptic way of giving you the CE date, that is 788. That's what we all learnt in our history, right? Shankaracharya was born in Kaladi in 788 AD. That's what I learnt when I was young. So for that also, Nidhi Naga Ibha Vanyabde Kalau. Nidhi, now you know 9. Naga is 8. Naga is Hasti. There are Ashtadiggajas. Ashtadisha, Ashtadiggaja. So Naga is 8. Ibha is also another name for elephant. So it is Nidhi, that is 9, 8, and Vanhi, that is 3. 3 Anala, that is 3 fires. So Nidhi Nagebha Vanyabde. So it is 3889 Kali Yuga, and that comes to Shalivahana Shaka 710, and that comes to Gregorian calendar 788. 78 years difference in Shalivahana Shaka and the common calendar we are using. So these are the two views basically that Shankara was born. Where he was born, people say it is Kaladi, but just think, we have the tradition in India, all over India, from Kerala to Kanyakumari and Assam to Gujarat, that the first child is born in the mother's home. Is it not? And therefore, we believe that he was born in Aryamba's home, and K. Venkatachalam has written a book called Kalati. In that Kalati book, we have this book in our library, and there he has mentioned he was born in Medpalurmana. So there is some written document, and there is Aitiha. Aitiha, that is oral history. Itiha, this is what we have heard. Aitiya is orality or oral history. So Aitiyam Anushritya. Now all the Digvijaya Granthakaras, what they have written, they clearly say Aitiyam Anushritya, because nobody has witnessed that era, right? So it all comes by hearsay. And in hearsay, there will be some grain of truth, though it is flabbergasted, it is fabricated to a great extent later on, still there is a grain of truth, okay? So this is what the birth time of Shankaracharya is. And now, he was believed to be Shankara himself born here. It is not any ordinary child. It is Shankaracharya himself. And therefore in Madhaviya Shankara Digvijaya, that is Vidyaranya Swami's Shankara Digvijaya, it is the most famous. Madhaviya Digvijaya is the most famous. He writes a verse, he says, Ajnanantar Gahana Patitan Atma Vidyopadeshaihi Bhavadava Shikha Tapa Papachamanan. The people who are Ajnana Antar Gahana Patitan, who are deeply overwhelmed and they have as if fallen in the pit of ignorance. Ajnanantar, deep, Gahana, Patitan. Bhava, Dava, Shikha, Tapa, Papachyamanam. They are being cooked again and again. Papachyamana, punah punaha pachyamana. In the bhavabdhi heat, the heat of the bhavasagara. Bhava tapa papa papachyamanan. Ajnanantar gahana patitan. He uddadhara. How? Atma Vidyopadeshaihi. By Atma Vidyopadesha, he brought them up. Unka uddhar kiya by Atma Jnana, by giving them Atma Jnana. Who did this? Shankaraha. Muktva Maunam. He is sitting there in Kailasa mountain in the Yoga Mudra. He is not talking to anybody, but Muktva Maunam, leaving aside his Maunam. Vata Vitapino Moolataha. From the Dakshinamurti Stotra we have, no? Vata Vitapino Moolataha Nishpatati Shambhor Murtihi. He Shambhor Murtihi Charati Bhuvane Shankaracharya Rupa. Shambhor Murtish Charati Bhuvane Shankaracharya Rupa. So in the form of Shankaracharya, it is the Murti of Shankara which is roaming around on this earth. Leaving aside his yoga, leaving aside his mauna, he came here to uplift all these ignorant people and enlighten them with the Vidyopadesha. And Totakacharya, who can be stated to be the Samakalina, the contemporary of Shankaracharya, his own Shishya, right? He will see the story of Totaka tomorrow, but he says in Totakashtaka, Bhava eva bhavaniti me nitaram samajayata chetasi kautukita mama varaya moha mahajaladim bhava shankara deshika me sharanam. Bhava eva bhavan. Bhavan, O Acharya, you are none other but Bhava, Lord Shiva. Bhava eva bhavaniti me nitaram samajayata chetasi kautukita. In my mind, I am always wondering with curiosity, aren't you the same Shiva in the form of our Acharya? I feel you are the same. Bhava eva bhavaniti. And that is, that becomes so natural because Bhagwan has promised in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever there is a glani to dharma, dharma is deteriorating, dharma is on decline, then utsrujami, I take birth. I get reincarnated. I incarnate. And therefore Shiva getting incarnated as Shankaracharya is quite possible because this is a promise given by Bhagavan. Whenever you need me, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. But basically, dharmasya glanihi yada bhavati, and we know that time, be it BCE or CE, I personally believe it should be BCE, immediately after Buddha, when the Vaidika Dharma was on decline, the Sanatana Dharma was on decline, and the Buddhas, the Jainas, the heretics, the Pakhandas were on the rise. That was the time when the revival of Vaidika Dharma was the demand of the hour, demand of the time. And that was the time when he was born. But irrespective of the dates, we just know that he existed because there is a proof of so much of his kritis, so many of his kritis, be it Prakarana Granthas, which are meant for the Shishyas, be it the Stotras, which are meant for you and me, all with bhakti. Trayi marga what is that? Trayi marga prakashakaya namaha. He showed us the path, threefold path of jnana, bhakti and upasana. Jnana, Bhakti and Karma, whatever you say, right? So Prakarana Granthas, then Bhakti Yukta, Stotras, and for Jnana Marga, the Bhashya Granthas on Prasthanatraya. Brahma Sutra, that is Nyaya Prasthana, Upanishad Bhashya, that is Shruti Prasthana, and Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, which is Smriti Prasthana. So Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya Prasthana, Prasthanatrayi Bhashya. And you will have a tinge of that, a flavor of that through the lectures. So whosoever he was, wherever, whosoever he was there, wherever, whenever he was born, he existed. He created so much work for us in that Alpayu of 16 first and then extended 16, so 32 years. And he created so much that we spent our whole lives studying in one Grantha, and we feel, Gatam Bayaha. We spent our entire life and we haven't really apprehended the purport of even one Grantha, one Bhashya, right? And that is our Madrushaha, that is the common people like us who spent our entire life in studying something. So this was his birth. Then it is said that at the age of 2, he started reciting stotras. At the age of 2, small children hardly start speaking, and he started reciting the stotras. So looking at that, his Brahma Teja, that Varchas, Shivaguru decided that he should get Upanita at the age of 5. Now, we should not wait till 8 years. Brahmana, there is 8 years normally. But at 5 also we can have Upanayana. So he decided and he told this to Aryamba that we will have his early Upanayana at the age of 5. But before he reached 5, Shivaguru was no more. Shivaguru passed away. But there is one story this Premananda Kumar has written in Shankara, the Finite to Infinite, which is published by Cif, by us only in the trilogy. So she has given a story. It is obviously given by some Charitrakaras. So Shivaguru had to go to some other nearby village, and every day he used to offer milk, to Bhagavati temple nearby. So because Shivaguru was away, Aryamba said to Bala Shankara, why don't you go and offer the milk to Bhagavati and give her Naivedya and come back. He went there and he just waiting when Bhagavati will come from the Murti, from the Vigraha, drink the milk. This is like Namdev's story in Maharashtra. We have similar story of Namdev also, right, for Payasam. And similar story. For the Mahatmas, such stories are very popularly done, very frequently we come across this. And he waited and waited, but Bhagavati didn't come. And then he started crying, oh mother, why are you not drinking the milk? Every day my father comes. Today he is not here, therefore I have come. Please come and drink the milk. And it is said Bhagavati herself came. The Mother Divine came. She drank some milk and some she gave to Shankara. And that's when Shankara started glowing a lot. And he got everything, like Kalidasa, it is said, Kalyaha Dasa. He was a full dullard. And when he went to Kali Mata's temple and wanted to cut his tongue with the Trishula in her hand, she blessed him. And he started reciting all the Kumara Sambhava Kavya, Meghaduta, Raghuvamsha and all that. There is a story of Kalidasa also, right? So similar story for Shankaracharya, that Mother Divine herself gave milk to her, and then Shankara's Teja, Brahma Varchas, started growing day by day. And looking at that, Shivaguru decided he will be Upanita at the age of 5, but unfortunately when Shankara was only 3, he passed away. After that, naturally the mother with the child, they were brought here in Medpalur Mana, and in this maternal home, his Upanayana was held. In the very courtyard of the Medpalur Mana, the Upanayana was held. After Upanayana, he was sent to Guru Gruha. That was a practice. The children didn't stay with their parents, they had to go to Gurukula. And the Gurukula was near Kaladi. We have already learned that Shiva Guru was himself a Veda Shastra Sampanna Brahmana. So one of his cousins ran a Gurukula. In that Gurukula, Shankara also studied with some Vishnu Sharma and some other friends, of his in Kaladi. And as it was customary, they used to go for begging alms, bring it together, then Guru Patni would cook that rice and they will eat rice and curry. That was the simple bhojana for all the Batuds. So they used to go to different houses. Manusmriti says, every Batu has to go to 5 houses only to beg alms. Om bhavati bhikshan dehi. Whatever he gets, he shouldn't, if it is less, it's okay, but then he has to beg only 5 houses and every day different, so that no familiarity is, developed, nurtured. Otherwise, some people will feel some love for the Batu and they will give him something extra. Nothing of that sort, And therefore, every day 5 different houses. Now, there were so many houses nearby. So, one day he went to a big house, the house was very big, and the lady came out of the house and the house was dilapidated. It was only काय म्हणतात त्याला मोठं घर पोकळ वासा in Marathi. Big house, but there is nothing, it's an empty house. She searched and searched, but she had nothing to give alms to this boy. And she felt so ashamed, because it is the bounden duty of a grihastha to maintain the brahmacharis and to maintain the sannyasis. Whose duty it is? The brahmacharis are studying, it is the society who maintains them. And the sannyasis, they don't work, and therefore it is again the society, especially grihastha, and therefore it is said in the Chaturashrama Vyavastha, Grihasthashrama is the yoni of all other ashramas. If there are no grihasthas, the other ashramas cannot flourish. So she felt so sad. Oh, this Tejasvi Balak meri chaukhat pe khada hai. There is this boy standing at my door and I have nothing to offer him. She was in tears and she just could find a dried gooseberry, amla, and that she put in a jholi, in his bag. Shankara was moved by the utter poverty of this lady. And then anahayasa from his mouth came out, Angam Hare, that Kanakadhara Stotra, beautiful Kanakadhara Stotra, where he praises Mahalakshmi to take pity on this lady and shower her with her blessings. He first, Kanakadhara Stotra is a very beautiful stotra. He first describes the katakshas of Mata Mahalakshmi, and she, such a beautiful, at the age of, 5 and 6, at the age of 5 he got Upanayana. Maybe at the age of 5 and 6 he is reciting a stotra all of a sudden. And in such a poetic beauty it is. And he describes in so many words, first Mahalakshmi, and how she is looking at the sleeping Vishnu. Vishnu is sleeping there. Vishnu is like Tamala Neela. Nava Neela Neerada Sundaram. Right? Nava Megha Sundaram. Like that Neela Varna Vishnu is sleeping and she is looking at him with kataksha and she is taking care that Vishnu should not catch her while she is looking at him. Because that is the prema bhava, right? That she is looking at him like this. No, it is not like that. Aankhon se aankhein mila ke. So she is looking at him, but she is taking care that he doesn't notice she looking at him, and therefore every now and then the kataksha, she is withdrawing and throwing, kataksha, throwing and withdrawing. So these are like the black balls in her eyes. They have got a bhringamala. Gata gatani, the ikshanani, gata gatani. What a beautiful image, right? That tamala patra, if you have seen tamala, the bay leaf tree, when it blossoms with all blue colored flowers, and therefore Vishnu is compared to the tamala neela. He is compared as tamala neela because, and when with her eye glances, only with the glance, not even the touch, Vishnu gets goosebumps on his body. Only by Mahalakshmi's Kataksha, he gets goosebumps, and these goosebumps resemble the blue colored flower tips on the tamala tree. The entire Vishnu is tamala, and the flower tips are his goosebumps. What an imagination! What is a Kavi Pravadhokti? The best of the Kavis wouldn't have thought of this, And after praising her in such a manner, Gir Devateti, Garuda Dhvajeti, Sundariti, and all that, Ratyai Namaha, Bhutyai Namaha, and then he comes to the end and says, Kamale, Kamalaksha Vallabhe, Tvam Karunapura Tarangitairapangaihi Avalokaya Mam Akinchananam Prathamam Akritrimam Patram Dayaya. O Kamala, you please avalokaya mam, you look at me with karuna pura tarangitaihi apangaihi. He has already described her apangas, her katakshas. Now these katakshas filled with compassion for me. Karuna pura tarangitaihi apangaihi avalokaya mam. Kidrusham mam. Akinchananam prathamam. The first in the list of the poor people. Akinchana. I don't have anything. And make me object of your dayayaha akritrimam patram. So make me an object of your daya. Naturally, So your karuna and your compassion should flow through your eyes. And it is said that Mahalakshmi showered the golden gooseberries. And that's why the entire stotra is Kanakadhara stotra. What a beautiful story, right? So this Kanakadhara stotra, and then he completed his education and went back to Aryamba, his home, and he saw that Aryamba is so tired now, and the Purna river is so far. She has to walk from the sandy banks in the heat of Kerala, right? Now also it is so hot outside. So in the heat of Kerala, walking on those sandy banks of Purna to her snana and bringing water and all that, once she fell there, Murchit, and he went and brought her back, and then he just, with his heel, he turned the course of the Purna river. If you go to Kaladi, you can see one stream of Purna, that is Periyar, now they call it Periyar. It is Purna or Churni, the older name is Churni or Aluva river. Aluva river or Churni river or Purna river. So he turned the course even now from the Kaipallimana, from the Shankaracharya's Janmabhumi Kshetra, they call it, from Sringeri Matha, they established it in 1960s. So from that house you can see one stream flowing very close by the house, then there is an island in between, and the main river flows from far away. So one course came nearby. And because when Purna got flooded, the Krishna temple was also, got affected by the rivers, and therefore he replaced that Krishna little far away. Now that Krishna temple is just next to, there are so many steps you have to go down to the river, and on a little higher position the Krishna temple is there, and while replacing him there, he composed the Krishnashtaka. So there are, stories, and for every stotra where he might have written these stotras, okay. And that was one thing. And then, he had completed his education, because the guru who taught him, he said, now I don't have anything more to teach you. Whatever I had, I have already imparted to you. Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi. He was hardly 8 and he knew all the 4 Vedas. That's a famous verse for him. Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi, Dvadashe Sarvashastravid. When he was 8, he knew all the 4 Vedas. When he was 12, he knew all other Shastras. Shodashe Kritavan Bhashyam. When he was 16, in his teens, he wrote all the Bhashyam. And Dvatrimshe Munirabhyagad. At the age of 32, he disappeared. Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi. So he had everything. And now Shankara was pining for a guru because he wanted to take sannyasa, but his mother was not allowing him. He had that Tivra Vairagya in his mind. Tivra. If the Vairagya, Vairagya is Smashana Vairagya also. There is one Vairagya called Smashana Vairagya. It's a temporary detachment, When somebody dies and you go to Smashana, then you understand, oh, how life is so fickle. Yesterday I talked to him, morning I talked to him, and today, now he is no more, So the fickleness of life we understand in the Smashana, but that is only temporary. Again we do the same things over and over again, not realizing that life is so short and temporary, and I have to do something which will take me to that eternal bliss. We don't do that. But Shankara had the Tivra Vairagya, but mother was not giving him permission to sannyasa. In Atmatirtha is the one recent Digvijaya, not Digvijaya you can say, but a biography written by Nochur Venkatraman. And recently, 2-3 years back, he got Ramanatirtha, he got sannyasa also, right? So recently, Atmatirtha, in that Atmatirtha, he has, explained it in such a nice manner that once Shankaracharya went for some, his Madhyana Snana and all that, ablutions and all. And that time, so many people came to Kaladi. They were on their way to Anantapura, that is Padmanabha Swami, Thiruvananthapuram. So on their way, they halted at this place. So when Shankara came, he saw there are so many people, the pilgrims, and his mother is busy cooking. So he also went and helped his mother, to serve rice to them and all that. And there he saw one old man, and he talked to Shankara and he said, "What are you doing here? Your guru is waiting at the banks of Narmada." That triggered more passion of meeting the guru, When there is guru anugraha is to happen, you cannot take interest in any other thing. By body, mind and soul, you are pining to meet the guru. So Shankara was lost in that. So once after that, the people went away to Anantapura, and Shankara was doing his daily routine, and one day his foot was caught by a crocodile in the Purna river. Somebody went running to Aryamba and said, Shankara's leg is being caught by a crocodile. Aryamba also came running, and now Shankara said, now I am dying, the crocodile will get me inside. Give me permission, I will take apat sannyasa. Let me die as a sannyasi. If I can't live as a sannyasi, let me die as a sannyasi. And there was no other go. And therefore she just said, yes, okay. Because if the mother is not giving permission, nobody can take sannyasa. Even now in all these Chinmaya order or Ramakrishna order or any order you may go, without your parents' permission, one cannot take sannyasa. And mother especially, mother has to permit. So he got the permission of sannyasa. He took apat sannyasa. That means sanyastam maya, sanyastam maya, sanyastam maya. 3 vara, 3 times you say, and that was apat sannyasa. And lo, what happened? The crocodile left his leg. There was no crocodile, in fact. It was only the Bhavasagara Bandhana which was tying him to this. And a moment has to come, There is only one moment for transformation. One moment. Like the Bodhi happens even for the Siddhartha Gautama. The Bodhi happened at one moment. Enlightenment. That's the moment of enlightenment. And now Shankara is free and he comes back and he says, now you have given me permission. Now let me go to my Guru. And there was already a feeder was given that Guru is waiting at the banks of Narmada. And then Atmatirtha, in that Atmatirtha, this one, Charitra, it is said that mother said, okay, I have already given you permission, but be accompanied by that Vishnu Nambudri. His friend was there with him throughout his Gurukula Adhyayana also. So don't go alone, go with him. And make me a promise that when I am on the deathbed, you will come back to me. He said, you remember me, Amma, I will come back to you. And that is when he left. So that crocodile, Makara Ghat, we can see even now in Kaladi. When you go there, you can see the Makara Ghat. And he kept his promise. At the end, after his sannyasa and before the Sarvajna Pitha Arohana, basically, when he was doing his Digvijaya Yatra, when he was at Sringeri, he got through Antardhyana that his mother wants him at her bedside. And he took his friend, he just asked him to close the eyes. These are the, fictions or stories built up by the Charitrakaras. And he just held the hand of Shankara, that other boy, and closed the eyes, and with siddhis, some siddhi, Shankara came to Kaladi from Sringeri, from Karnataka to Kerala in a moment. When you read Patanjala Yoga Sutras, you get the descriptions of siddhis. In some siddhi, you become, anima, laghima, etc. Laghu is light. Your body becomes as light as a feather. As light as a feather is an English phrase. As light as tula. Tula is cotton. And if you see that silk cotton, how it flies here? Shalmali, silk cotton tree, right? So it is as light as that. And therefore he came to Aryamba back. And then he knew it was the last moment for his mother. And you have the Matrustava, the Panchashloka, very beautiful. The mother's, what you can say, upakara. You cannot get anranya from that. You are ever indebted to a mother for giving birth to you. And he composed very beautifully that Matrustava then. And he asked his mother, what is your last wish? She said, I want to see Krishna. Krishna in this Medpalur Mana also, in this house, though he was a Pakka Shaiva, Shankara himself, but he was a Krishna Bhakta. His mother was a Krishna Bhakta. And then there was another darshana of Krishna. In the murals also, here you find mother is looking at that Krishna. In fact, in the last moment, she sees Krishna and then she says, I want to go now. So he sends for the Shiva Parshada. Shiva Parshadas come to take her to Shivaloka. But she is so scared to see the Bhuta, Peta, Pashacha, the Ganas of Shiva. It is also, made into stories by the Charitrakara. And she's so scared to see the Shiva Parshadas. And she says, no, I don't want to go with the Shiva Parshadas. I want to see Krishna and be with Krishna. And then the Vishnu Parshadas came and took her to Vaikuntha. That is what the story says. More than the story, after she passed away, he erected a small pillar there, small 2-3 feet high pillar, and in that there is a place to keep a vilak, a diya, a lamp. If you go to Kaladi, even today, you can find that stamba, that pillar in the Kaipalli Mana. They believe that is a Kaipalli Mana, but then at that place where Aryamba's Vrindavana is there, a Tulasi Vrindavana, in front of that, this stamba, not stamba, big stamba, a small pillar, of stone, and there is in old Tamil an epigraph written on that. Now there are barricades around that. You can't go near that stamba, you cannot touch it, but the stamba is there. In our murals in Melpalur Mana, we have in one of the murals, you saw, there is that stamba. So whenever people come here, I tell them, you go to Kaladi before you take your flight. Kaladi is so near to airport. Go 1 hour more, 4 hours before you leave. 1 hour you spend there, and you see that stamba which you seen in the mural. And so many of them, they have thanked me after going and seeing that, oh, it's so good. Otherwise, we just go and see the places. We don't know what's what, how they are related. So the murals are the depiction of the life story of Shankara, but there exists that monument. There is aitiya, there is some existence of monument, and there is literary document. These are the 3 things which endorse the sustainability of a thing, is it not? So we have the aitiya, we have that stamba, and we have the art depiction of that. And every now and then, even today, people go and visit that, and that is, when you say that how a person should be devoted to a mother, Matru Bhakti, kaisi honi chahiye, look at Shankara. Look at Shankara. That is the way of Matru Bhakti. That is the essence, the importance of Matru Bhakti, the highest Matru Bhakti. And then he went, so that crocodile incident, you can see that Makaraghata, and then he was allowed, and that with Vishnu Sharma and some others, Raah chalte gaye, Karwa banta gaya, and he went to this Omkareshwar, and there, I will stop here after 2-3 minutes, it's hardly 8, just 2-3 minutes more. And then from there we'll see tomorrow. So he went there, and it is said that Bhagavatpada, Govinda Bhagavatpada was the guru there. He was the Shishya of Gaudapada Acharya. This parampara, all the people who talk about parampara, they always say, Sada Shiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. So it is Sadashiva Samarambham. From Shiva it started, Shiva to Brahma, and then to Vyasa, then Shuka, Parashara, Shuka Maharshi, and then, it come to like Vasishtha, then Shuka Maharshi, and all that parampara, to Gaudapada, Bhagavatpada, Govinda Bhagavatpada, and Shankara Bhagavatpada. So that is the parampara. So when he went there, Govinda Bhagavatpada is regarded as an incarnation of Adishesha, that is Patanjali. Patanjali was also an incarnation of Adishesha. Govinda Bhagavatpada is also considered as an incarnation of Adishesha. So he was a yogi basically. He was a yogi. And when he went there, Shankara went there, he just asked, normally it is asked, Kastvam kuta ayataha. Who are you and from where have you come? Now any person would say, I am Shivaguroho Apatyaha, and then Taittiriya Shakhiyaha. Taittiriya was the Shakha, Krishna Yajurveda Shakha of Shankaracharya. All that, Amukha Sharma Ham Bande, like that. But he said something different. What was that? Na bhumir na toyam na tejo na vayu or mano buddhya hankar chitta ninaham na cha shrotra jivhe na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. This is again a story. He told about him in this manner. And Bhagavad Pada was so impressed by this glowing, brilliant child. His appearance itself was so assuring. He accepted him as his disciple, gave him sannyasa diksha. And then once when he was in yoga, it is called Lambika Yoga. In Lambika Yoga, people can stay for days together without eating, drinking, sleeping, whatever the bodily requirements. Without that, they can just stay there for days together. He was in that yoga. The ashrama, Omkareshwari, if you have seen Govinda Bhagavad Pada's Gufa, it's right on the banks of Narmada. Narmada was in floods. He was yogi, he was sitting in the Gufa, and Narmada's water started increasing inch by inch by inch. It was almost reaching the Gufa. All the Shishyas were worried what to do. Samadhi bhanga nahi hona chahiye. At the same time, we have to save the Guru. Shankaracharya, they approached, and Shankaracharya placed his kamandalu. That is also art depiction in our murals here. He just placed his kamandalu near the Gufa and requested Ma Narmada, Tvadiya Pada Pankajam Namami Devi Narmade Sabindu Sindhu. The Narmadashtaka, such a beautiful Narmadashtaka. I would rather be a mean fish in your stream or a tortoise, as he says in the Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange, Kamatha. I can be a tortoise, I can be a meena, I can be a worm, I can be a tree on your banks, but don't separate me from you, O Mother. So, praising this, and he requested Ma Narmada, and Narmada, she went into the Kamandalu, she never came back. Kamandalu only she rested. The Guru's Samadhi for 8 days or 10 days got over. Later on he learnt that this is the miraculous deed by. These are the miraculous aspects. When we talk about Shankara as a child prodigy, he is not just a normal child. He is a gifted child. And therefore such things are but possible. You may not believe, but these things do happen in the case of some extraordinary born people, right? And then he just went there, Govinda Bhagavad Pada said that now it is high time that I have taught you everything, the Vedanta Bhashya, Vedanta and all. You have to go to Kashi and spread this knowledge. You can't remain with me forever. You have to go on pilgrimage. You have to go to Kashi to establish the Advaita Vedanta Siddhanta. And so he comes to Kashi. Let us go to Kashi tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.